In the quiet town of Sandapur lived three brothers, each with a dream tucked away in their heart. The youngest, Rohan, wanted to be a painter. He painted sunrises, sunsets, and everything in between, but his canvases remained unsold, piled up in a corner, gathering dust and doubt. One rainy afternoon, feeling completely defeated, he saw a little girl sheltering under his shop's awning, shivering. Without a second thought, Rohan brought her inside, gave her a warm blanket and a hot cup of tea. Her eyes lit up when she saw his paintings. She didn't see failure, she saw magic. He gave her a small painting of a sunflower. The next day, she returned with her father, who bought 3 of Rohan's largest pieces. Sometimes, the success we seek isn't found in grand ambitions, but in small acts of kindness. May your week be filled with unexpected sunshine and simple joys. Thanks for watching. In a small village where the sun always seemed to shine a little brighter, lived 3 brothers. The eldest, Rohan, carried a heavy heart. He had failed his exams, and the dream of a better life for his family felt like it was slipping through his fingers. He'd watch his younger brothers play in the fields, their laughter a painful reminder of his own disappointment. One afternoon, his youngest brother tugged on his shirt, offering him a single, ripe mango. "For you, Pai," he said, his eyes full of unconditional love. In that small act of kindness, Rohan saw everything differently. His worth wasn't defined by a test score, but by the love he shared with his family. Failure wasn't the end. It was just a turn in the road. As you start your week, remember that your true strength is in your heart and the love you give. You are more than your setbacks. Have a beautiful week. An old merchant in a sun-drenched Indian town called 3 young men. To each, he gave a pouch of gold coins and a deed to a plot of land. The first man, eyes gleaming, immediately started planning a grand palace. The second, his face clouded with worry, clutched the pouch, fearing he might lose it all. The third man, however, simply knelt down, touched the earth of his new land, and whispered a prayer of thanks. Years passed. The first man's palace was half built, his gold spent on fleeting luxuries. The second man's land lay barren. He was too afraid to invest a single coin. But the third man's plot flourished. He had built a humble home, planted a vibrant garden, and used the gold to help his neighbors, creating a community rich in spirit. True wealth isn't what you're given, but what you do with it. It's not about grand plans or the fear of loss, but about gratitude and simple, heartfelt action. As you start your week, remember to be grateful for what you have. Plant your seeds, no matter how small they seem. True abundance will follow. Have a wonderful week, and thanks for watching. Old Man Hemlock used to say, "The richest soil is found in the quietest fields." But his grandson Leo only heard the beat of the city. He traded sunrises over the barley for neon nights, fine suits for his father's worn-out work boots. The farm, the legacy, became a distant memory in his rearview mirror. One night, amidst the flashing lights and shallow laughter, a letter arrived. It was from his grandmother. No scolding, just a simple photo of a scarecrow, dressed in the suit Leo had left behind. Below it, she'd written, "Even the birds miss you." In that moment, the loud music faded. Leo saw it all clearly. The real wealth wasn't in the champagne. It was in the soil he'd abandoned, in the roots that were still waiting for him to come home. The party was over. It was time to go back to where he truly belonged. In our little town, everyone knew Clara's bakery, but after a tough year, the open sign stayed flipped to closed. Clara sat inside, staring at the last of her savings. It was her gold, her safety net, and she was terrified to risk it on a failing dream. The mixers were silent, the ovens cold, and her heart felt just as empty as the flour bins. One morning, little Lily from next door taped a drawing to the glass. It was a picture of a smiling cupcake with the words, "We miss your sunshine, Clara." That small act of kindness was like a key turning a rusty lock. Clara looked at her savings, then at the drawing. It wasn't about the gold, it was about the joy she shared. The next day, she didn't reopen, but she baked. She gave away every last cookie and muffin to her neighbors. Their smiles were the richest reward she could have imagined. Remember, sometimes the greatest treasures aren't the ones we hold on to, but the ones we give away. I hope you find and share your sunshine this week. The old bookstore on Maple Street was Mark's last connection to his late wife, a place filled with dusty memories and mounting bills. Every unsold book felt like a personal failure. One rainy Tuesday, a young girl named Lily came in, her eyes wide with wonder. She didn't have any money, but she visited every day, carefully turning the pages of a worn-out book of fairy tales. Seeing her quiet joy, Mark felt a forgotten warmth. One afternoon, he wrapped the book and gave it to her. Her beaming smile was brighter than any sale he'd ever made. He realized the store wasn't just about selling books. It was about sharing stories, spreading joy. Kindness became his new currency. So, this week, remember that even in the quiet corners of your life, small acts of kindness can reignite the brightest lights. Have a wonderful week ahead, and thanks for watching. Old Mr. Henderson sat on his porch, staring at the "For Sale" sign in front of his closed-down bakery. It felt like a monument to his failure. For 40 years, that shop was his life, and now it was just an empty building. He felt like he had nothing left. One afternoon, a young woman, Sarah, stopped by. She used to buy his cinnamon rolls as a kid. "Mr. Henderson," she said, holding out a small, warm loaf of bread. "I started baking because of you. I used your recipe. I wanted you to have the first loaf from my new oven." He took the bread, its warmth spreading through his hands. He realized his legacy wasn't the building. It was the joy he'd shared, the inspiration he'd given. The gold he'd been given wasn't the shop, but the passion he had passed on. So, whatever you're facing this week, remember that your true wealth is the kindness you plant. It will always find a way to grow back to you. Have a great week.